caught in the crossfire. Was caught in the
One of my worst shifts in retail. So a little while ago, I posted about an older customer threatening to call the cops on my coworker because of a dollar mistake she made. Now I'm here to tell you one of my stories from this toxic workplace. So this happened in July 2022 or August 2022. At that point, I only worked at my retail job every Saturday due to working a full-time job 5 days a week. Even working 1 day a week that point just sucked. On this Saturday, I was working register, which I absolutely hate and everyone knows it. I was on register and probably for like the first hour, I was in a good mood. I was talking with the other cashiers whenever there were no customers around. That was, until my manager, let's call her Kay, came up to me and basically told me how I shouldn't bother the other cashiers and that I needed to leave them alone. She told me that this isn't the time to be socializing when there's work to be done, which again, there were no customers to wait on, and gave me something to do. I should also note that she told me this in front of the other cashiers who were literally standing around as well. One of the cashiers, who is an older lady who is really nice and she's one of my favorite coworkers, came up to me and said that Kay was being really rude and that I shouldn't let it get to me and how I wasn't bothering her or anyone else. I wish that would have been the end of it. A little later, the next customer service worker comes in to take over the previous customer service worker's shift, we'll call her M. At 6 p.m., one of the cashiers was done with her shift and went to clock out. M decided to go with her and show her pictures of her dog and then proceeded to have a conversation with her. Meanwhile, I'm by myself taking care of the line of customers. There was another cashier, she's also my friend so we'll call her F, but she was out on the floor putting things away, as of Kay's request, which I'm thinking she had her on the floor just out of spite of me staying on register, but I'm not mad at my friend at all. So M is talking with the cashier who just clocked out and is on her phone while I'm over here working my butt off, and at one point, I asked her if she can jump on and help me ring and she said she would. Haha, nope. She continued talking with the clocked out cashier while also on her phone, as I was trying to take care of customers. One of my customers I was checking out even mentioned how I seemed to be the only one working. With another customer, I once again asked them to come up and help me ring and she said she would, but taking her sweet time getting to the register, she was still on her phone. The customer I was with even mentioned how it looked like she was ignoring me, and I had to try my best to hide the annoyance while speaking to the customer. But did she get in trouble for this? Nope. And this happened twice. A little later, M told me she was going to take the trash back and then use the bathroom so she would be right back, meaning I would be the only one up front again, and since I've been there for years, I wasn't too nervous about. Q 10 to 15 minutes and she still decided to not come back up front. At one point the phone rang and Kay said over the walkie that someone up front needed to answer it. Again, I'm the only one up there. I said over the walkie how I was with a customer and someone else would have to answer it. Then Kay said back in an angry and stern voice how the phone had to be answered up front, so I had to stop what I was doing, run over to the register that had the phone, take the call, and then run back and apologize to the customer, which luckily she was understanding as it was obvious I was up there alone. A little later, M told me she was going to take the trash back and then use the bathroom so she would be right back, meaning I would be the only one up front again, and since I've been there for years, I wasn't too nervous about. Q 10 to 15 minutes and she still decided to not come back up front. At one point the phone rang and Kay said over the walkie that someone up front needed to answer it. Again, I'm the only one up there. I said over the walkie how I was with a customer and someone else would have to answer it. Then Kay said back in an angry and stern voice how the phone had to be answered up front, so I had to stop what I was doing, run over to the register that had the phone, take the call, and then run back and apologize to the customer, which luckily she was understanding as it was obvious I was up there alone. After I got back out, F got pulled to zone the store and M did her nightly things. I once again asked M to jump on register, and this time it took her a minute to jump on and help me. But literally mostly the rest of that night was just me on register. This wasn't the first time Kay has treated me like crap. Even some of my other coworkers agreed that Kay is always after me for some reason. I get my work done even if it is a slow process. There was one time in January 2022 where she kept getting annoyed at me and told me to clock out 10 minutes early but told no one else. I stayed until the time I left, and when I went to get dinner it was past 9 p.m. and I didn't eat dinner yet. I got a notification that my work time has been edited to 10 minutes before I clocked out, which pissed me off. I was so ready to go in the next day for my next shift and complain about it, but I unfortunately got tested positive for COVID at my other job, so I had to call out. I was supposed to work both jobs that day. What I also hate, I had to ask the senior manager for months if I can be on the floor more, and she said she would see what she can do. There was always me being on register and sometimes be mistreated up on register if I dared to do something all the other cashiers did. It got to the point where I told the SM about my anxiety and feeling overwhelmed while I'm on register, and that's when she took me seriously, which pissed me off because it shouldn't have gotten to that point. When it's anyone else, it's, "Oh, okay, I'll put you on this position the next schedule," while I had to fight back for months. I don't mind being on register for a little bit, but being on there for a long time builds up my anxiety. I also got diagnosed with autism in February 2022, so that could also be why I always got so overwhelmed. Now at that point, they had me being a cashier again out of nowhere, and I didn't know why. There was one night, I was trying not to cry and not have an anxiety attack while I was on register. One of my coworkers told me I should stay quiet about talking to my SM why I'm on register again, but at that point I just don't care anymore. I was tired of being treated like this. I have a lot of stories about Kay, but I have loads of stories about M and F, and another friend I worked with, let's call her A, have stories about her too. If anyone wants, I can go on multiple stories on how M pissed off me, F, A, and other coworkers. Edit. I should also note that Kay was another coworker like the rest of us. She even started after I did, before getting promoted to manager.